Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drive Time. We are here on a special episode. We got a lot to get through, and it's going to be a fun one. With me today, I've got the gentleman Jack. Gentleman Jack, how you doing today, sir?
I'm well, Matty. How are you, my friend?
We are doing well. We are doing well. Of course, I got the thing here pulled up for our mock draft to get ready to go. But I always start the show with what am I wearing? So I went both ways. My Carolina Hurricanes won yesterday, so I had to represent them. And since we are doing our mock draft, of course we have to have my Raider shirt ready to go for
Ah,
that one. So yeah, Jack, what looks like I got what NFL hat on today?
I just went NFL hat with the black Nike shirt. I may change hats during the show. You never know. I'm a cat of all hats.
You are. That's right. Well, I think the NFL hat's appropriate for you because since you're helping me, we'll also. I mean, granted, you're making a pick too, and I'm making a pick, but you'll be helping with the judging of everyone's picks here as we go through it. So, but I am super excited to do this. So, real quick, I'm just going to bring this up. This is a mock draft, but as you see, I've got this nice. I even, got this nice little PowerPoint ready to go for us. So I'm just going to hide this banner here now because we are going to start bringing in some folks, and we're going to get going here with this draft. So basically throughout different things. I messaged people, anyone that wanted to make a pick could come in and make a pick for their team. As we filled up teams, we tried to also make sure that we were ready to go with everyone else. So a few people are going to be making picks for other teams, but they had rules. The rules were very simple. You just had to basically, you had to make the pick that you thought would be best for for their team. So with that being said, we will go ahead here and get ready. And of course, if you're going to do this, you have to have, let me come down here for the right sound effect here to make sure here that we have it because there you go. You got to have that. That's your sign that the pick is in. And we do have our first pick in now. Our first pick is, of course, the Tennessee Titans. They are on the clock. Now, the gentleman making the pick, his name was Michael McGinnis. Now, he couldn't be here today, but he's got a darn good reason why. I found out from talking with him, he actually works on the grounds crew for the Washington Nationals. So the Nats have a home game today, so he had to get to the stadium early. So he could not be on to make the pick, but that's a damn good excuse as far as to why you can't make that pick,
Heck
if I
yeah.
do say so. So that one
Yeah.
we let pass. So now, if you're watching online and stuff like that, the way I'm going to do the comments too as we go through, I'm not going to pull up comments on every single pick. Basically, about every 5 picks, I'll stop and read whatever comments are out there. So if you have a comment on somebody's pick, let everyone know how they did. That's fine. That will be great fun. But I'm only going to read them every 5 picks so we can get going. So with that, the Tennessee Titans are up. And no surprise to anybody here, the pick is Cam Ward, quarterback from Miami. I mean, everyone has Tennessee taking Miami. This is kind of the easiest pick of everywhere, right? I don't think anyone really is surprised by this pick at all, right, Jack?
No, not at all. That's my cousin Michael, or as I call him, Mike McGinnis. He's a diehard true Tennessee Titans. I don't know what brought that on with him, but the family, nobody in the family. Well, that's right. His other uncle His other uncle was a diehard Tennessee Vols fan. I think that's how Michael got to be a Tennessee football fan.
Gotcha. Well, you can't go wrong with liking Tennessee, that's for sure. And this is, I've always enjoyed that team. I think this is the right pick for them. I mean, it gets their quarterback set up and ready to go. But with that being said, that this was kind of the easy pick. Everyone knew this, and in my real honest view, this year's draft starts with pick number 2 and the Cleveland Browns because Cleveland kind of is the one that's setting this. And to make the pick, he's actually here. His real name is Pat Kakar, but he's going by Top Dog here today, and he's wearing his Top Dog outfit with his Cleveland Browns. So, Pat, how you doing?
Good, sir. Good. Good. Representing a little Joe Thomas. Got to represent him.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with
Oh, Big
representing Joe
Joe.
Thomas and the Browns. So, walk me through what was your thought process here before you make the pick officially. What was your thought process on
Well,
this?
there was two guys, and I've been going back and forth on both of them. One was, probably close, if not the top defensive guy on the draft board, and then we look at we need playmakers in Cleveland. We need dual threats. We need people that can stand out. Maybe be, you know, a 1B to Jerry Judy. and maybe help Denzel on the other side of the ball. But it's a toss up between the two. I like them both.
Okay. Well, and with that, I can tell how you're ready. I think. Come on. I think it sounds like the pick is in. So what's the pick?
Yes, the pick will be from Colorado, the Heisman Trophy winner, dual threat, wide receiver, defensive back, Travis Hunter. And Travis had a great year, 92 catches, 14 touchdowns. He's going to help us on both sides of the ball. I hope the Browns, they have a history of messing things up. So let's just cross our fingers and hope for the best.
I think it's a smart pick for them too. If they don't trade down, I still think that there's a chance that maybe Cleveland trades down here.
Sure.
But if not, and I think it's a good pick. What do you think, Jack? All right.
Yeah, no. It seems like to go with what they got and picking the best available at that is Travis Hunter. But I do strongly think them and New England might swap picks. So let's look for that on Thursday. I think Cleveland and New England might swap picks. So I think New England wants Travis Hunter more.
Could be.
That's what I think.
It'll be interesting to see what they pay to get that pick in. But anyway, Pat, great job on the pick. Welcome to the show. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. You take care. So let me go ahead here. We'll get
Thank
him
you.
off. All right, Dylan. Now, Dylan is going to be making a few picks with us. He's going to be making his first pick. He's doing for the New York Football Giants, of course. Dylan,
That's
how you
right.
doing?
Doing great, Matt. How about you?
I am doing well, sir. I am doing well. So I'm going to keep I'm adding people to the stage here as we keep going to get the next picks locked up and ready to go. All right, so Dylan, I'll let you talk a little bit more when you get to your team's pick, which is Jacksonville. But for right now, you're making the New York Giants pick. So I think you're ready to go with this pick too, right?
Do I get my music?
Yep. You get your music. Of course you get. Everyone gets
It's
it.
music.
Yes.
Maybe. All right, go ahead.
With the third overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the New York Football Giants select Abdul Carter, defensive end, Penn State.
There it is. I think that's the best available pick. I can't argue with that one at all. I think there's some talk about the Giants maybe going quarterback here. I know Jack talked about this yesterday in the show, but I think this is another team where I think if somebody wanted to move up and get this pick, that maybe this spot could be in play. But if not, Dylan, I think was that your process. Best available player is right there, and the Giants need a lot of help on D.
Best player in the draft is available here at number 3. So the Giants are thrilled to get this one. And Joe Shane hasn't done that much right during his tenure with the Giants, but he'll get this one right. And the Giants are in a full rebuild. They get a cornerstone of the defense for years to come, and not going to be like the Browns and pick a skill player with nobody to throw the ball to them. So Giants get a solid one here.
I can't disagree with that. Jack, any thoughts on that pick?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. With nobody to throw the ball to them. I don't understand what the Giants are doing with this little makeshift quarterback Band-Aid, but I'd have took a QB at this spot if I was the Giants. They ain't had a QB since Eli.
That's true. Well, they got Russell Wilson, right? That's their quarterback, right?
And famous Jameis is out there.
Yeah, that's true. Jameis Winston is out there too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Jameis. So. Yeah, no.
Yep. All right. So with that, I got Jeff up here next. He is making our pick for the New England Patriots. Now, Jeff, how did you become a Patriots fan?
I became a Patriots fan way back. First off, thanks for having me. I was a huge Tom Brady fan at Michigan. Underdog, was a big Michigan fan, and of course, Belichick's from Annapolis. So once they drafted Tom Brady, that's kind of when I switched.
I think there's a little difference in that story, Mr. Ricker.
Uh-oh.
Not at all.
I think he switched when the Redskins sucked.
No, I'm still a Redskin fan, but Patriots. I was never going to root for Dan Snyder ever.
Okay,
Well,
I'll take that.
Ever.
I can't blame anyone for that. That's for sure. So, Jeff, I think your pick is in, right?
It is.
All right. Well, then with that, here it comes. All right, go ahead and make the pick.
With the 4th pick in the 2025 draft, my New England Patriots select Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State.
Excellent pick. Now talk us through it here with taking the tight end at 4.
Well, he's the best tight end in the draft, the most athletic tight end in the draft. He plays multiple positions, and the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, being back there, he loves 2 tight end sets. It was successful for him in the past. They need to surround Drake May with unbelievable talent. This kid is 6'6". He can run. He plays pistol. He played running back. He played slot. He threw the ball at Penn State. It was tough. I was torn between 2 offensive tackles and him. Now, if Abdul Carter was there, it would have been even more difficult.
Right.
Y'all are going to think I'm crazy. Yes, Travis Hunter could be an incredible addition to the Cleveland Browns. I'm not. I think he's small. I don't think he's very big. So Tyler Warren, to me, when Abdul Carter was picked, he's the best tight end in the draft. It's close because I picked another one later on. We'll talk about that later. But Tyler Warren's just a prototypical tight end with great size, great speed, and very athletic. And I think he's going to be an unbelievable blanket for Drake May.
I can't disagree with you. I think it's you sold me on the pick, that's for sure. So, Jack, how about you?
Yeah, I feel. I mean, New England needs a player like this, but I feel it's a little early to be taking a tight end. But what Jeff says, he's not really a tight end; he's a playmaker, and you rarely hear tight ends be called playmakers. He can play in the slot.
Yep.
Go ahead,
he plays a slot. He can run. And guess what?
Right.
If I'm the GM, I'm going to take calls for people that there's going to be people going to be calling New England. And
Absolutely.
Jack, I will tell you, New England, I agree, might trade up to Cleveland. Cleveland, listen, there's people, experts that I watched today. Some of these quarterbacks, Cam Ward's not even. Some of them are saying they wouldn't take a quarterback in the first round in this draft.
Yep.
So, I mean, Tyler Warren, it was tough, but I think New England might entertain some calls because they need more picks.
I agree with you, Jeff. I think this is the one pick for sure that I could easily see New England going down and getting more draft stock to and probably could still get a Tyler Warren, if they move down, say 9 or something like that. Because I think if somebody's going to want to get ahead of New Orleans to avoid a possible quarterback being taken there, this is the landing spot for that. And I think I think New England would do that.
And everybody's talking about Ashton Genty, whatever his name is. But football's changed. Running backs going in the top 5 picks, top 6, top 10. That's, I don't know if that's the way football's going now.
Yep. All right, Jeff. Good stuff for sure. I'm going to put you backstage because I know you got. If you want to hang around, you helped to make the pick number 14 for Indy. So I'll bring you back here in a little bit if you want to hang around. Okay.
If I can stick around, guys, I will. I appreciate it very much. Y'all do a great job.
All right, thank you. Give me 1 second here. All right, so Dylan, you're back up with now. This is your team, Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, it's time.
It is time. So give me 1 second here. So I know you're ready to make this pick here for sure, right?
Oh yeah, this is my team.
All right, then let me go ahead here. Come on. There it is. All right, go ahead, Dylan.
With the 5th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, my Jacksonville Jaguars select Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan.
Said it with excitement too. I like it. So I assume you're looking at improving the weak pass rush of the Jacksonville Jaguars with this pick, right?
Yeah, the Jags pass rushes, even though they have some talent there with Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, it's just not consistently getting to the quarterback, and that's because they've got no pressure coming up from the middle. They can't do anything with a 4-man rush. Mason Graham is a plug-and-play, fixes that right away, and he's just a game wrecker. This guy can really get after it in the trenches. He's also good in run support. The Jags' run defense was the 2nd worst in the league last year, so while there still needs to be tweaking on the offensive side of the ball, you can't can't pass up a blue chip prospect like Graham at number 5.
I don't disagree with you there on that at all. Jack, you got anything?
Well, I'm gonna do a little something here. Not so fast, Dylan. I got my man Derek Harmon going in this position. I smell what you're cooking at the defensive tackle spot, but I feel Derek Harmon from Oregon would be your best guy there. But I feel you. The Michigan boys are something else. I'll tell you, Coach Harbaugh, he's got 4 Michigan guys on the top of his board. So we'll talk more about that when we get to that pick.
Agreed.
Sounds good.
After the 5 picks, I was going to go through everyone. So Scott, Rivette joins in. Warren is a beast, which I agree with that. Matthew Sador saying, "What up, fellas?" And Matthew, you're going to really like. I got my Miami pick will be coming up later on with one of my good friends, Nancy. So you'll be interested in that pick, I'm sure. So. All right, so we got those down there. Hide that. All right, so we got pick number 6 coming up here, and this is, of course, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, did Matt pick your Miami pick?
No. Nancy did. She's on screen here because she's making a pick here coming up here for me. But Nancy's like my longest, dearest Miami Dolphin fan that I know. The poor soul's been
you see
tortured.
Matt's picture, I see.
Yeah.
Last
I
name
saw his picture with the Dolphin
Zader.
thing on there. So, oh, my bad. All right, so I'm not wasting any time with this. I don't even need the music for it. I was hoping this guy was going to fall to the Raiders, and I know we talk about, and look,
It's all good.
I thought about this one a little bit only because of the fact of the Raiders need a lot of help. They could use offensive line. They could use a lot of stuff. But when you get a running back like Saquon Barkley style that falls in your lap at 6, and you haven't had a good running back since Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson. Yes, we've had Josh Jacobs and he was okay, but this is the running back to go with Bowers that will set us up, and we got plenty of picks later on. So the Raiders are very happy to pick Ashton Gently for a running back for Boise State. And I will be honest too, I have the number 1 pick in my fantasy draft. It's a keeper league. I'm taking Genty, so I wanted to be a Raider, so because he's going to be on my team for the foreseeable future. So the Raiders are very happy to take Genty off the board right here at 6. Any comments on that one, Jack? On my pick? Uh-oh, is Jack frozen? His face is not moving. He might be frozen.
It's a great pickup for the Raiders right there at 6. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's who I have to go with. So, Nancy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How's it going?
I'm doing well.
I'm doing very well. I know enough about the Jets that I think I can pick for them, having been a Dolphins fan as many years as I have been. So, with the 7th pick, the Jets should take Armand Membo, tackle from Missouri. This kid, and I say kid because he just turned 21 years old, is a 3-year starter, and he did not allow either a sack or a QB hit in 411 pass blocking snaps. So, I mean, he's athletic, he's got the size, he's got the skills, but the Jets are the Jets, so who knows what they'll do. But that's who I'm taking for the Jets.
The Jets could jet, but I agree with the pick. They definitely need offensive line, and it makes sense as one of the ones I was thinking about with the Raiders. If I didn't go running back, probably was going to take Will Campbell, but he's going to be coming up later on. But that was one of the names I was looking at, but I couldn't resist Genty. But I do think Membo's got potential to be a stud too. Jack, what do you think? Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah, I agree. Membo is a monster. He plays with quickness, body control, hands. He's got great hands. He can just move linemen where he wants them. He's a big boy. I like that pick. I like it.
We agree. All right, so Nancy, I'm going to put you backstage because you will be coming back here again at 13 with those Miami Dolphins. So we'll see you here in a bit, okay?
Oh, I meant to say hello to Nancy, our only woman on the panel. Thanks for joining, girl.
That's true. She'll hear you backstage though. So yeah, I know. I was very happy to get Nancy on here. Her and I go way back with my All-State days. So, and then I can actually bring Dylan back up on stage because he'll be back up here.
I'm back.
Yep. All right. So next after the Jets is the Carolina Panthers, and with that we welcome Big Vic here for the first time. Vic, how you doing today?
How's it going, fellas?
Doing well. So Vic will be a big part of the show later on
Right,
too. He's
Vic.
going to help us with when we get to our hockey playoff breakdown. But Vic, are you ready for your pick?
10-4.
All right, I haven't played the music in a while, so we got to remember the sound here. So there we go. All right, Vic, go ahead.
With the 8th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Jalen Walker, defensive end from Georgia.
Very nice pick. What's your thought process behind it?
He can play linebacker and defensive end. He can do it all. So, hey, I wear my Luke Kuechly jersey. So
Nice.
we need some more defensive guys back there. So, hey.
I agree with that completely. Jack, any thoughts on this pick?
I like Jalen Walker. I just liked him a little bit later. What number pick was this? He was selected for Carolina. Number 8, huh?
8. Yep.
I have similar. Yeah, that's where I had Mason going. So, Jalon Walker, he's a hybrid. He can play up and down, edge or linebacker, So he can definitely be a big asset to some team, and he's got tremendous leadership skills. So maybe he could be the type of linebacker you're looking for.
I agree.
The Panthers
All right,
were awful last year on defense, so we need all the defense help we can get.
Yes, sir.
Agree with that. All right, so Vic, I'm gonna put you backstage because you got a while. You're picking again for the Chargers, but they got a while, so you can hang out backstage, get yourself some snacks and stuff like that. So
Sounds good.
all
Thanks.
right, yeah. All right. So Dylan, you're back up for the Saints, and this is an interesting pick.
I'm excited for this one.
So
Dustin's on stage too now. There he is. There's my brother.
he's right after you with Dub Bears. So I'm getting him up on stage, ready to go. So here you go, Dylan. Let's go
We
ahead.
got
Here.
Dust
I know this
Saints
ready.
and Dub Bears.
That's right. All right, Dylan.
With the ninth overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select the best QB in this draft, Shedeur Sanders, out of Colorado. Surgical tactician, throwing the ball 74% completion percentage throughout his college career with a horrible offensive line, and he was running for his life and still completed that many passes. New coach Kellen Moore gets his franchise QB for the future, will be a great fit in his short passing system, and this is going to be a home run pick for the Saints.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is why I think too, especially with the car injury, like this pick makes all the world of sense to me. If he gets to 9, my only fear for the Saints is, and I think other teams know this, that if you want Sanders, you now know I think you got to try to get ahead of the Saints. So that's going to be the question: is does a team trade up ahead of the Saints to get Sanders?
I think the Saints themselves are going to have to trade up. They want him. I think they're going to have to make a play. Yep.
And they could easily do it if they want to, right? So I think we're all in agreement. This pick sounds like the right pick. It's a question of will it be at 9 or not? Who knows? Maybe it'll be sooner than the draft. But I think if not, if somehow he falls to 9, this now seems like the no-brainer of picks right here, right?
Absolutely.
I don't think he falls that far, and I think they're going to have to take a cornerback and not a quarterback if they get stuck with this pick and are unable to trade up to get their guy. I think other teams might trade up too to get him. So it's going to be crazy in that, let's say 4 through 9 too.
Yep.
I'll tell you, I don't think this draft is going to go the way drafts has gone in past. I think we're going to have a lot of mixing up in the top 10.
I agree. I definitely think there's that potential for that. But of course, that's the fun with these mock drafts, right? Because if we would have had a ton of time, and if I would have had a different general manager for every team, I would have said, hey, if you guys want to make trades, make trades. But we couldn't do that for this. So we'll see how this goes this year. And if I can get a general manager for everyone next year, then we are all on board. So Dylan, great job. You've got a ways to go, so I'm going to take you backstage again for a little bit here.
All right.
You're helping out with some more picks later. We'll bring up his brother Dustin, who joined us here for the first time. Dustin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How's it going?
We're doing well. All right, so you got the pick for Dub Bears. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, well, I'll give you a little music here. Maybe. It takes a while. It's a late start with this thing. But there it is.
All right, with the 10th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Will Campbell, tackle out of LSU. Bears are
OT, baby, OT.
Yep.
Yeah, the Bears are thrilled that Will Campbell fell this far. Caleb Williams was running for his life last year, most sacked quarterback in the league, 68 sacks taken. That some of those might have been his fault, but he was definitely running a lot back there because his O-line was not good. They were the 24th ranked offensive line in the league according to PFF. So there were worse lines, but they were definitely in like the bottom part of the league. And now they're really going to have two solid bookends. They've got Will Campbell, a true left tackle, anchoring the blind side, and they've got Darnell Wright on the other side, who is actually the 5th best ranked right tackle according to PFF. So you've got two bookends. Caleb Williams has the protection that he needs in order to continue to develop as a quarterback.
All right. I can't disagree with that at all, that they need offensive line. This is another no-brainer pick. Jack, what do you think?
That's my guy I had there. Good pick,
Yep.
my man. Great minds think alike.
All right.
He may not be available, so it might be a mix between him or Kelvin Banks at that spot. I think either will help the Bears tremendously.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
They need to go offensive line.
Yep, I think we're all in agreement on that. Matt adding Miami in the house, Miami going to trade up. Yeah, I think that's a possibility too. I definitely could see this team making a move. He says they're going to trade away Reek, maybe. Yeah, I could see that happening. Then he says, I heard hockey, caps. Yes, Matt, we will be, after we get through this draft, I've got a big, huge hockey panel on, so definitely stay tuned for that. We are going to be breaking down the first round of the NHL playoffs for sure. V checking in, saying hello, friends. So hello, V. Great to have you here. Chip, if the Giants don't take him, won't need a trade up for Sanders unless he falls into the 20s. Possibly, but I don't think he's going to fall that far. I think somebody's going to trade up. It's either the Saints or not to the 20s. Yeah, I do agree. If somehow if Sanders doesn't go before 9, then he's not going to go for a while. But I think somebody's trading up to get him. But all great comments, guys. Keep those coming. We're going to keep reading them off for sure as they come in. And then Chip adds, let's go Blues. Yeah, we'll save that for the hockey part. But yeah, so I agree with that there too. All right. The 11th pick was made by our one and only Midnight Rider. Now, he could not be here for the pick, so I'm just going to read it off and I'll give his comments here on it. But for the San Francisco 49ers, he's taking Will Johnson, cornerback for Michigan. And he says, time for San Fran to replenish their secondary, which has taken some hits over the years. And I 100% agree with that. So I think this is a good pick for San Fran at 11.
Yeah,
Jack, what do you think?
Johnson's going to be somewhere in that area. I think because the teams in front of him needs O-line, that they're safe if they get to that pick. But there's a chance that Will Johnson might be off the board. But that's a good pick, Midnight Rider.
Yep, I agree with that too, for sure. So, all right. Just because we fell a little bit behind. So now 12 Marcus fans was one of my another all-state guys, which I was hoping he's going to be here, Nancy. So you would have been able to say hi to Marcus, but I sent him this stuff, but he said he was going to be here, but I know he's on vacation today too. So he must have had something come up with vacation. But so for pick 12, Dallas, he takes, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name because I know I will not pronounce it right, but McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, which is interesting because if I didn't, when I took Genty 6 for the Raiders, if I thought about going wide receiver, which the Raiders could desperately use, this was going to be the guy. So, but basically his rationale behind it is pretty good. They need a second wide receiver to go with CC. He's tall, 6'5", good red zone target for Dak, and a playmaker, which they need. Should be a big splash pick for the fan base after they had a poor season last year. So I think that's his thinking behind it. Jack, I see you shaking your head, so it seems like you don't like this.
I don't think Dallas should try to get a playmaker. Hell, they can't pay their playmakers. They can't keep their playmakers happy. I think they need to shore up the defense in Dallas. So nothing personal, but if that's who you think your team likes, I'm cool with it. He's a great pick for anybody that's going to get him. I do think he's going to be a threat.
Yep, I agree. But hey, that's the fun of these things, right? We get to nitpick on these picks. That's why we're here as the host, so we get to have the fun of that. So, all right, Nancy, you're back for your team, your Miami Dolphins. I was trying to find the Miami.
Nancy. I didn't say hello earlier.
Hello.
I wanted to find the Miami Dolphins theme song for you and play that, but I couldn't get it on here in time.
No,
so I apologize.
that's okay.
We don't need
Dolphins
that.
Number 1.
No. But I'll take the music though.
There you go.
Yes, man.
With the 13th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, my Miami Dolphins select Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas. You know, we talked about maybe trading up since we need to get rid of Tyreek. At least it feels that way. Maybe, but no, I want to trade down. If I was trading, I would trade down for sure because I think that I could get more value. But in this particular case, there's a lot of nonsense about trading Jalen Ramsey too. So this is a position of need for the Dolphins. This guy can play multiple roles in the secondary, and the Dolphins absolutely love that. They love the versatility. He's physical. He's going to, be contesting those catches. He's got a high football IQ. I think this is a good pick. We've got control for 5 years for, a high value position. So I think that we're going to go ahead and take him. If we stick and pick at 13, I think that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Miami's our team that's definitely gonna. I'd be shocked. I almost would be more surprised if Miami picks at 13 than if they don't, because I think that Miami's going to move for sure. But if they did have to pick with what's off the board in front of them, I think this is a good pick. You can never go wrong with improving a secondary that struggled last year, and Miami's defense and the secondary definitely struggled. So, Jack, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like. I like Barron because I made Barron my pick at one point in the draft, and he was already taken by my friend right here.
Alrighty then.
A bit early for Barron, I think. But if that's your pick, I like it. I definitely like it.
Well, I think that he's more valuable to Miami than to maybe other teams. So
I like that.
I would rather trade down, though. I'd rather trade down.
I like that. I mean, you got a tight end, so you don't need a tight end. Your line's decent, so you don't need them linemen in there.
No,
so the only
we need linemen. We need O-line. I was hoping one of those offensive tackles would fall to me, but I'm not really feeling that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, probably not. You'd have to go up to get one, I think, of those. So.
Yeah, I mean, Teron Armstead is retired now. We've got a second-year left tackle and Patrick Paul. So I don't know. I would love to have had the Jets pick. Let me put it that way.
I hear you. I agree with you on that. Well, Nancy, thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you agreed
to
do
thank
this.
You.
And thanks for helping out with picking the Jets. And maybe we'll see you next year when this comes around again, right?
Awesome.
All right, take care, dude.
Take it easy, Matt. Thanks for including me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right. So that gets us up to pick 13. I brought back up Jeff. I'm not sure if he can hear us or not, but this was kind of funny. This was one of these picks where it didn't have anybody for Indy yet. And I sent out the email, and Jeff and Ben basically made this pick by email, and they did it at the same exact time almost. I gave them both credit for this pick because they both basically agreed. They both took Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan, who, we had one tight end already taken, Tyler Warren. It's kind of like 1A and 1B in my view as far as the best tight ends in this draft goes. So that's kind of what we have.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, there you are.
Can you hear? Okay.
Yep.
I'm driving, so I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't know if Ben was on here as well, but if you haven't mentioned the pick yet, you want me to tell you who it is?
I gave the name of Colston Loveland, but you can give the reasoning behind it.
Well, I think the Colts have been eyeing the fact that in this draft I took Tyler Warren with my first pick.
Right.
Is why Loveless is going. I don't think this tight end can play the number of positions as Tyler Warren, but if Tyler Warren's available, that's who the Colts are going to pick. But in this draft, they're going to go with Loveless, the kid out of Michigan. He's, same size, 6'6". I don't think he's the same quality player as Warren. It's close, but the Colts need a tight end, and the fact that Tyler Warren's not there, this is the next best tight end in this draft by far.
Agree with that. It's a nice replacement for Dallas Clark, right? And they haven't had a good tight end since the days of the Dallas Clark. So
Well, yeah, and if you look back at Dallas Clark and his frame and his athleticism, that's Tyler Warren just, 15 years later, I guess, right? I mean, Tyler Warren is exactly like Dallas Clark. I think Tyler Warren might be a little bit bigger, but you got to replace him, and I think this is a kid, again, out of Michigan. I mean, there's a lot of Michigan players being drafted, and this is the next best tight end in the draft.
Agree with that completely. I don't have any arguments with the pick. Jack, any thoughts on it?
No, not much. I mean, the Colts need a lot. They need a lot, in my opinion. But Jeff is on tight end pick. I get it.
Yep.
Well,
All
I
right,
mean,
Jeff.
and if the Colts could trade down, believe me, they're going to try to trade down to get Tyler Warren. They want Tyler Warren pretty bad. I just don't know if he's going to be there.
Trade up.
Agree. Yeah, they'd have to
Trade up.
trade
I mean, not trade
Yep.
down. Trade up. Yep.
Yep, we're following you. So, all right, Jeff. Well, thanks for making the pick. I know you're driving, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for doing this for us. Okay.
No problem, buddy. You guys do a great job. Have a great week.
Thanks, man.
bud.
You too. Take care. All right. So I'm going to brought Dustin's got a little ways to go. We've got a few of these other picks here. I'm just going to kind of roll through these here a little bit quick. Midnight Rider made us the pick for the Atlanta Falcons at 15, and he took Michael Williams, the defensive end for Georgia, another just edge rusher, a solid pick up here. And his thought process behind a dynamic edge and maybe the best pass rusher in the class. I can't really disagree with that at all. I think it's a solid pick. And Jack, you got your thumbs up. You're in agreement with that one too?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. I'm going to just keep moving on through some of these that we don't have people on. 16, the Arizona Cardinals. I made this pick. I think there's a lot of ways you can go for Arizona too. This is another team that they could use defensive line. They could use offensive line. I'll be honest, I'm a little biased on this one. I've got Marvin Harrison Jr. on my fantasy team. I want to see Kyler Murray have a little bit more protection. So I went offensive lineman and I took Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive lineman out of Texas. They need help in the offensive line, defensive line. Either one of the line picks I think would be good for them. I went offensive line, but it's totally based on my own fantasy team to be better by Murray having more time to throw the ball. Any thoughts on that one, Jack?
Yeah, I have him quite a bit higher on my list, but yeah, Kelvin Banks is solid lineman, solid tackle.
All right, let me go through some of these comments because I didn't do that.
All-American, as a matter of fact.
Agree. Chip, did you answer? Yes, I took him at 6 with my Raiders because the Raiders I want him there. That's why. Chip says that's why we love the Cowboys. Chip is a Commanders fan, so he loves hating on the Cowboys. So he always has to have fun. Matt said true. Matt said I like it. I assume there he's talking about the Miami Dolphins pick, so that's good. And he says she's right. So Matt's in agreement with Nancy. So that's good to hear. So good comments, guys. Keep those coming as we go through this thing here. So 17 is the Cincinnati Bengals. I bring back up to the stage here Dustin because he is making this pick for us, and I think he is ready to go. Right?
I am ready to go.
You want the sound effect here? Hold on.
Let's do it.
We haven't played the song in a while, so we got to get back here to it. So here we go.
Line.
There we go.
Line.
With the 17th pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. And the Bengals have needs to address here. Like the O-line was terrible last year. But that being said, even with the terrible O-line, they had the top passer in the league and they had the top receiver in the league. What lost them games was their defense's inability to stop anyone. So I have them selecting who might be the best linebacker with all-pro upside in this draft out of Alabama, Jihad Campbell. You could argue maybe they should go defensive tackle. A lot of the good edges were gone. Maybe you could argue Mike Green would go here, but I think it was a little high. So I gave him the linebacker here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I don't disagree with the pick. I think if I was the Bengals, I think I'd be addressing the offensive line. But the problem is like you look at who's one ahead of them. I don't know that there's anyone left on the offensive line that I would feel comfortable with taking at 17. So Jack, who do you think would be there at 17 for them to take?
I think Zabel would be there. I'm not sure where Gray Zabel went. His first name is Gray, Grey. I
don't think anyone took him in the first round, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
he somehow got skipped
where
out.
He went. to school though. But I think he could make it. No, he has not been drafted as far as I've seen. But I had Campbell going too later to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it's tomato, I guess. I like it.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for that pick, Dustin. You come back up here again a little bit later on. As a matter of fact, you can just stay on. You can stay on because where you're at comes up after Jeff's pick. So, I will take you off because I got to get Jeff and Vic up here. So you'll be off for a little bit here. So, all right. There you go. All right. So pick number 18 is coming up is the Seattle Seahawks. This is one that Jesse Young made for us. He's actually a Detroit fan, but he helped out by making a few of the picks. We'll get his Detroit pick a little bit later on. He takes Maxwell Harrison, cornerback out of Kentucky. His wording on this one here: Seattle needs a cornerback. Too often they got beat there. Harrison will give them that, and he has a lot of speed too. Should be a good fit for Seattle. I can't really disagree with that pick either. 19 was the Tampa Bay Bucks. I made this one, and this one to talk about a team that needs a lot of help. And I kind of agreed with you. If Campbell was there at 19, that would have been my pick for them, but he was gone in this mock draft. So I went with Malik Starks as safety out of Georgia. Tampa, they need someone. This is another one that I think if Tampa wants, this is a spot where I could see if somebody really wants, you get to these 19 picks where maybe a team wants to come up to get a quarterback later. I could see Tampa trading down for them because they need draft picks. They need draft stock. So this is one too I could totally see them trading in or out of at 19. Any comments on 19 before I roll on?
Agree.
All right. For Denver, I also got to make this pick. It's funny because I truly honestly hate the Denver Broncos because my dad loves the Denver Broncos. But looking at this realistically, Denver hasn't had a good running back in quite some time. Marion Hampton, running back out of UNC, with Genty being gone, seems like a perfect fit for the Miami Dolphins, or excuse me, for the Denver Broncos here to go along with an offense that started. They made the playoffs last year. They got their quarterback. They got some good receivers. They just don't have the running back, and this guy I think is a good ad for them. You're shaking your fist, Jack. So I'm assuming
I got you there.
Excellent, good. I like it when
this is the third pick. We got 3 picks out of the top 20 that match Jack Carr's list, so I like that.
Well,
Hampton
is good. We like to make that.
He can be a home run guy, and he's a great pass catcher. He needs to work on some pass blocking, I feel, but he's a great mix for Denver. And the quarterback over there, Bo Nix, he can handle the guy learning how to get on his pass protection a little bit better. Because Nix can scramble, so
agree. And Ben was helping you out, Jack. North Dakota State is where Zabel went because you were trying to find the school Zabel went. So he was helping you out there.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're in agreement. And with that, here we got our next picker up. It's the 21. Jeff Nail is here with us. He's going to also be here for the hockey part of the show too. But he's also a diehard Pittsburgh Steeler fan, and he's here to make the Steeler pick. Do you want the sound effect here?
I would love the sound effect.
Okay. Well, if people want it, they gotta. I'm a man. I try to give everyone. I try to deliver. There it is. Okay, Jeff, go ahead and make the pick.
With the 21st pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers and their 6 Super Bowl championships select Derek Harmon, defensive line, Oregon.
Walk me through the pick.
Well, we could have done a lot of things here, and we still might trade back, and in fact, we still might trade up. But the Steelers need a lot still. I was looking at Sanders, had he fallen, and I still think they could trade up and get him. I was looking at Hampton, and then, of course, you snagged him the pick just before.
My bad.
And then the other guy that I was looking at was Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State, who I think went right behind this. So I definitely had the right players in the right section of the draft for value, I think. Why we're going defensive line, I think he's the best of those 3 that I said, that Hampton, Egbuka, and Harmon. I think that A, you can never have too many defensive linemen, and B, Cameron Hayward is not getting any younger. And, we got to figure out what the heck we're going to do with TJ Watt as well. So are we going to pay him $40 million a year? Not that he's a replacement for Watt, but we still need to bolster the defensive line in general. So Very happy with the pick. Glad he was there.
Well, good news, Jeff. Midnight Rider agrees with you. Says good pick, Jeff. Based on the way the draft fell. So you got
Must be a
agreement.
good pick then. Yeah.
You got Midnight Rider agreeing with you. Then you know that you're on point with your pick. So, all right. Thanks for making the pick there, Jeff. I'm going to put you backstage for a little bit. You'll be joining us here as we wind down this thing here for the hockey part.
Back to the green
be
room.
ready. Be ready. Be ready. All right. So with that coming up here next, Vic, we'll bring Vic back for the LA Chargers pick. Vic, who you got here?
With the 22nd pick in the 2025 draft, the LA Chargers select Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, Ohio State. Or as you say, the Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
Yeah,
that's right. You got to say
Harbaugh gonna pick him.
Yeah, that would be funny, right? Seeing Harbaugh pick an Ohio State guy. But Vic, I think I know why you made the pick, but it's your pick, so you give it.
Oh well, I just picked him because he was there. Honestly,
He was there. I agree. Yeah, there's a lot of needs there that they had.
I'm just being honest on that one. He filled in pretty nicely after Harrison left. So,
got a blue cover that high? Wow.
Yeah, I think Egbuka is an interesting guy because I don't know where he's going to go. I think this seems like the right spot for him, somewhere in these 20s. The Chargers need wide receiver help, so I think it's a smart pick. Now it will be interesting, like Jack said, can Harbaugh take an Ohio State guy? I think he can. I mean, I think at this point, if you're a head coach, you take that stuff and not do it. You don't worry about where they went to school, but we'll see.
I don't think that's going to happen. The first 4 on Harbaugh's wish list are all Michigan guys. I just don't think it's going to happen.
The question is, we have 3 of them already off the board, though. You got Graham off the board. So the only Michigan guy I think that was left is probably Kenneth Graham, now, which I could see him doing because they lost Bosa. So maybe that's a pick there. Is that what you were thinking? Yep. All right. I agree with that.
You could put money that Harbaugh's going to take a Michigan guy, man. I will put money on it.
All right. Well, I like that. All right, Vic, stay tuned. You're same thing like Jeff. You'll be back here very shortly. So, all right, Dustin, you are up here for a couple of picks here in a row. You're helping us out by taking the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings. So, go ahead here with the Green Bay pick.
All right, here we go with the 23rd pick of the 2025 NFL Draft. The Green Bay Packers select Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. And this is really interesting here because I meant to look this up, but the Packers, I don't think they've drafted a wide receiver in the first round since was it Donald Driver or something like that? It might have been Donald Driver. They just don't do it. But there's been a lot of talk this offseason. You heard Josh Jacobs come out about it. He's like, hey, I'm tired of playing with a bunch of wide receiver 2s. We need someone. And there was talk that they might try to trade for DK Metcalf in the offseason. That didn't quite work out for them. I actually would have preferred them to take a cornerback here, but I really wanted to get Will Johnson here. He was gone, and Barron was gone too. So they decided to go on the offensive side of the ball, get themselves a wide receiver 1 in Matthew Golden.
Yep, I don't disagree with the pick. I think it would make sense with him being there. Jack, any thoughts on it before we go on to 24?
I like what you're cooking there, Dusty. I like what you're cooking. Wide receiver, definitely what they're looking for. I just had them picking McMillan on my. That's the only difference, man. Wide receiver is definitely what they're looking for. So
which I agree. I'm sure if McMillan's on the board, that would have been the pick probably over Golden, right? But with him off the board, I think Golden's the second best wide receiver. So I think that's
definitely.
Yep, agree. All right, then you got their friendly rivals. Nice friendly rivalry between Green Bay and Minnesota. Minnesota's picking 24. What's their pick?
All right, with the 24th overall pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Walter Nolan, defensive end out of Ole Miss. And I was looking at the stats about this a little bit. They probably could have gone corner here. The passing defense wasn't nearly as strong as the rushing defense. But I think at this point, Nolan was falling. They take a value pick here, and they add Nolan to their defensive line.
Yep, I like that pick. Jack, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good pick, and they could definitely use it. So, yeah, I'll go with Nolan there. That sounds good.
All right. Well, Dusty, I hope you enjoyed your time on the show. Keep. I know Dylan brought you in, and I appreciate him bringing you in. So you're welcome anytime to check us
He's a
out here
deep
on
cut.
Drive Time or any of the other shows. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks for having
All
me.
right, man. Thanks for having me.
All
Take
right.
care, man. Yep.
All right.
All right. So the last few picks are really kind of mostly between people that aren't on. So Jack, I'm just going to kind of go through them here quickly, and then I know, of course, you
Sure.
got the one pick too. So then I'll read a couple comments here. But first, I'll do the Houston pick, and then I'll go through the comments. To
Sure.
me, this was easy for the Houston Texans. They need offensive line. I mean, let's be honest. Stroud was running for his life last season, so I took a guy that I think
Who you
Stroud
going
will
with?
also. I went with Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State because he's got
Yeah.
some familiarity with Stroud. So I think that would be helpful for Houston. And I think there's a little connection there. And I think it just makes sense for obviously they're going to take offensive linemen. It'll probably just be a question of which one. If Houston doesn't take offensive linemen, then that's just I think that's silly for them.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got him taking a lineman as well, but I got him taking guard Tyler Booker out of Alabama.
Okay.
I like Tyler as a lineman. He's going to be a great addition to any team. He's huge. He's humongous. He's a team captain. He's got great football IQ, upper body power, everything you want from a lineman. So I
Agreed.
agree with the lineman decision. Just not sure
Different
which
one.
one they're going to take.
Yep. A few of the comments here. Chip put in drafting for need instead top player with wide receiver to the Chargers. Robert Randall put in number 22. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, Robert. So if you're still on, throw it in the comments. That way I know what that's in reference to. Ben, I think Chargers take Golden because they need the speed. Yeah, I mean that would make sense if Golden, if they went Golden and they went back to back with each other, right? Or because Dustin took Golden at Green Bay, so I could see that pick too if they decide to go wide receiver. So Ben, thanks for throwing that in there. Let me hide that here because we are up now to pick number 26, which is the LA Rams, and this was made by Jesse Young. And he took James Pierce Jr., the defensive end out of Tennessee. Strong on the defensive line, will replace Sam Darnold, who is retired. The Rams picking him up to help out the pass rush and defensive line. I like that. You're replacing a spot that you're losing, one of the best to play in a while. So I think it's a good pickup. What do you think?
I definitely think they're going to get something on the defensive side of the ball. I just thought it was going to be in the defensive backfield. So
Gotcha.
we're in the same ballpark. They're looking for defensive help. So that could be a good pick.
Okay. All right, 27. This pick was made by Cole Brabrand. He's a Raven fan, so he made this pick for us. And the pick was James Pierce, defensive end out of Tennessee. He had on here Baltimore's biggest flaw in defense is rushing the passer for years now, and they'll fill that gap. I'm reading the wrong thing. Strong on the defensive line will replace. No, wait. Yeah, that's the right one. Did I do the right one? Hold on here. I think I messed up here. Give me a second here. That was the Rams pick. The Ravens pick, he picked Mike Green, defensive end out of Marshall. So ignore this name you see here. That should say
Yeah.
Mike Green, defensive end Marshall. I just forgot to change it on here. So that's Mike Green, defensive end Marshall. Baltimore's biggest flaw in defense is rushing the passer for years now, and they fill that gap with Mike Green. He's explosive with elite hands and has the potential to be a top 10 pass rusher. So again, the Baltimore Ravens pick is Mike Green from Marshall.
Well, I see some of my teachings to my young coach. He's one of the coaches I used to coach with. And I see some of that's wearing off on him because he's making good decisions, just like the gentleman Jack here. I got Mike Green going to the Baltimore Ravens out of Marshall. And I think Mike Green is a steal right here. He's going to play like a Raven. So I definitely think Baltimore is going to be happy if they can get Mike Green.
I agree with that pick too. I think it's a great pickup for them. It's exactly what they need. Jesse Young was next with the Detroit Lions, and he took DJ Sanders, defensive lineman out of Texas A&M. He says will help on the pat. And this was an interesting. I was kind of surprised they went defensive line because they got so much. But when he sold me on the pick with what he said, because he goes will help on the pass rush on the other side of Hutch. Adding him to Readers, McNeil, Hutchinson on the D line will make the Lions have a scary and fast defensive line. And man, is he right about that. So, I mean, I kind of thought maybe cornerback here, but if you want to make it where guys just don't have time to throw the ball, this is one way to do it because you got those four guys. They're not going to have to blitz if this happens. They could just rush four and get to the quarterback with no problem at all.
I thought the same way he did, but I thought they wanted to go to the other edge. I thought give another edge. Him and Hutchinson would be unstoppable, and I had Shamar Stewart there from Texas A&M. But interior D line, yeah, that'll be solid too because you always just hear about Hutch mostly in the linebackers. So I like it.
All right, so we're coming up on the Redskins, and Chip is a Redskins fan, so he has a comment here. It says that the Browns and Giants didn't take a quarterback. Skins need to call and trade back, but can only trade to the Giants if get next year's first round pick. So I think maybe he's looking for trying to get like an Abdul Carter in Washington situation or something like that, along those lines. But you've got the Washington picks, so and since you're here, and we haven't played the sound effect in a while, so first let me get you here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely getting the sound effect.
That's right. Here it comes. All right, Jack, make that pick.
Well, I like what Chip said. Okay, I'm going to make the pick. I like what Chip said, but I don't think we're going to get a first for this. We're probably going to get a couple seconds, or 2 or 3 seconds in the third. All right. With the where are we? 29th pick
29.
in the 2025 NFL Draft, I select the gentleman with the coolest name in the draft, Ariante Ursay from Minnesota. I think I want to go O-line if we keep this pick. Yeah, we need other things, but we need to protect JD5 number one and foremost. So I want an offensive lineman if we keep this first pick.
Okay. I think that's what Chip meant. No trade back, but get the Giants first round pick in 2026. So he's trying.
They won't get that. They won't get that. Not for a number 29 pick. If you're trading a 11th pick, you might get a first, but I don't feel that. What do you think, Matt?
I don't. Maybe. I mean, I could maybe see that happens, but I that'd be a lot. But it is the Giants. The Giants have been known to do silly things before, so I think you could talk about that. That's what Chip puts in here. Doubt anyone would do it, but would be a steal to get a first round pick. Only way I would trade it to the Giants is to get a late first round, make it hurt if it's the Giants. Jeff put in Skins need to go defense. So yeah, I think that could be the case too. But I don't disagree with your line of thinking either. You got your franchise quarterback. There is nothing wrong with adding adding more protection to make sure that he is safe for sure. So all good thoughts, guys. I like them all. Let's see here. Pick 30. Now this was a tough one for the poor because Boss Man gave me like 3 different names, and I was feeling pretty good for him. The first name that he gave me was Mike Green out of Marshall. He went 2 picks before him. He gave James Pierce Jr. He went the pick before that. So like within like 3 picks, everyone that he wanted to take here was gone. But obviously, what he's thinking is his defensive end or defensive line or any type of defensive help for Buffalo, and he went with Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. It's very simple. Like he said, Buffalo's Achilles heel continues to be their defense, with it being historically bad the last 3 playoff exits as far as points allowed. With this addition, it kind of lines up with Joey Bosa, who's there, but his talent is in question, but you got the injury concerns, so why not bring in another guy there on the defensive line that can help get some pass rush going? And then that gets us to 31, which the Kansas City Chiefs, which Midnight Rider made this pick, and he took Tyler Booker, the offensive guard out of Alabama, which probably, if he does fall to 31, I think is a steal of a pick for Kansas City because we saw in the Super Bowl there's some concerns for the offensive line. This pick definitely helps out Kansas City for sure. If that, Ben says, shoot me the stream. Jack, can you handle that?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. He's going to handle that there. Chip says, off to practice. Good show, boys. Thanks, Chip, for all the comments. I do appreciate that. And then the last pick for number 32 was made by Chris Driscoll, a huge Eagles fan. It's always fun when you get the last pick because that means you win the Super Bowl. And he took Donovan Izuzuka, the defensive end out of Boston College. And he says, coming off a strong season with 16.5 sacks and 80 tackles, 20 for loss and 3 forced fumbles. He'll be a great add to the strong Philly pass rush, which they have to maintain at a high level due to a certain quarterback that's in Washington. So that's his reasoning behind that pick. Any thoughts on those last couple picks, Jack, before we wrap this bad boy up?
A couple of them I think are just being made because some people didn't make the right picks earlier. Because some of these guys aren't going to be available this late, in my opinion. So I like Chris's last pick. I think that's a guy that a lot of people got going early second round. So get him while you can, Philly. I go
Agree.
with that.
Look who's joining us, Midnight Rider. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I apologize because I'm outside of my job, so kind of a busy thoroughfare. I don't know how well my sound will be at this point, but I wanted to jump in because I saw who Jack took at 29 for the Commanders. Name that I think he heard a couple Sundays ago by a certain person that he co-hosts the show with. So I'm glad to know he was listening
Oh, come
and
on.
took some of my advice on this pick. Um,
Well, we all got to listen to the draft guru, Midnight Rider, all about Midnight Rider.
Nah, it's just good times, man. I like that. No, I like Jeff's pick, and like I said in the comments, I thought I think San Diego 23 and 24 will be flip flop. I think those are the two numbers. San Diego where the two receivers went, and the Green
Mhm.
Bay. I
Yep.
think it goes Golden, then Ibuka, but I like where everybody put up so far, and I think so far the MVP of this draft is Nancy. Two solid picks.
Good. Yeah, I agree. It's fun. It's fun. This was fun. I'm glad that we were able to get this thing. And hey, this is all working out. So I am a stat geek too. So of course I had to have a little bit of fun here with our draft analysis at the end. Um, I said 15 and a half picks were offense and 16 and a half picks were defensive players because you got a guy that's going to end up playing both, right? So pretty even as far as that goes. Almost exactly to the same point. If you break it down though by position, and I just did defensive line and offensive line. I didn't want to go for 8. 11 of the picks were off some version of the defensive line, 6 on the offensive line, 3.5 wide receivers and cornerbacks each. Yeah, 2 quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, only 1 linebacker, and only 1 safety. What do you think, Midnight Rider, about what you would think for how the real draft might go as far as personnel wise goes?
Personnel wise, I think we're going to get another safety. I think the Nick Nkowari kids from South Carolina. I
Mm-hmm.
think he gets in the first round somehow. Um, I think you take one of the corners off and add another safety in that regard. But I think there's only one linebacker, and that's the Campbell kid. Um,
Yep.
O-line 6, yeah. 11 defensive linemen. Yeah, I like the way this looks.
Do you
I
think
definitely see
then
that.
only 2 quarterbacks go, or do you think somebody trades up late in the first round and some of these other quarterbacks go late first round, even though they shouldn't go late first round? Do you think somebody just can't help themselves and takes them?
I think Jack wants me to say his boy, Jackson Dart, to get possibly into the late part of the first round, probably somewhere in that 29 to 31 range. But the only problem with those things, I saw Chip asking for a 2026 number one. That won't happen for that late of a pick. If anything, you'll get the second round pick that they're moving out of, and then you'll get either a fourth or a fifth later on, depending on the combination. If you're not going to get two first out of trading, out of getting off of 29, 30, or 31. So yeah,
Okay.
and then you
Jack,
got to be
what are your
concerned
thoughts?
about where that pick falls because you don't want to go all the way back to maybe New Orleans.
Right.
Maybe I think they're like 8 or 9.
9.
So you probably want somebody like New York or Cleveland to do it. So that way you're still at the top end and the front end of that. And then you might even get another chance to move back because somebody that's sleeping in New York that they weren't expecting to be there is there with one of the first 2 picks in the second round. So it's a chance for them to almost double up certain
Yep.
teams if they pick it right.
Agree. Jack, what are your thoughts? Anything there before we move
Yeah,
on?
no, I like what he's saying, and I think we're all three in agreement that there's going to be some trades here in this guaranteed top 20.
I think
I
I think
see.
this is one of the most active trade drafts because the talent is so close. Let me hop out, guys. Thanks for getting me in real
Okay.
quick. I'll
All
catch
right,
you
Ben.
guys Tuesday. All
All
right.
right,
All
man.
right,
All
man.
right. Take care.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree with that. And I said that earlier. I think this is going to be one of the most draft crazy. I mean, one of the most trade crazy drafts that we've ever had.
Agreed.
And I didn't think of it like why Midnight Riders said it because of all the athletes available. I think it's because of all the needs that certain
Yeah.
teams have, and they're not in that draft area to take care of them needs. So, the Dolphins, I see them trading up from 13, as our Dolphins pick said, and as Matt Zader said. I see a possibility of Seattle trading at the 18 spot. And then definitely, like we said earlier, Cleveland and New England at the 2-4
Yep.
spot. There's going to be more than that. I can't know them all, but I bet I know some of them. We know some.
Yep. All right. Last little one I put up here, just see the picks by schools. The most was Michigan, had 4 guys go. Georgia and Texas had 3. Colorado, Penn State, Alabama, and Ohio State were the only other ones with multiple picks of 2, and then a few schools, of course, that had the 1 pick. I just thought it was fun to see. So Michigan was the top school this year with 4, which doesn't really surprise me. They got a lot of high-end players. Ohio State only 2. I think that's probably be the lowest in their last few years for Ohio State. Only 2 go in the first round. But that makes sense too with what they've got available for this year. So that's that for the draft part there, guys. So that takes care of that. Let me go ahead here and stop sharing that for now. And then Jack, so it's up to you. Do you want to stay around for the hockey part, or do you can if you want, of course, but I'm going to bring in the hockey guys here in a second here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the invitation. I could probably learn something by staying on that. I did watch some hockey last night. Like I say, I watch playoff hockey, Matt. So I'm gonna bow out, and I will keep we will keep hockey in our junkies shows this week on Tuesday and Thursday. So
Okay.
thank you for having me on this show. It was a blast. I loved seeing where certain people either hope their team can get or really think their team can get in this draft. So looking forward to Thursday, probably the most, really, because I got a show right then about when the draft starts. So we can probably keep some live updates on our show Thursday of what's happening in the draft. So, I want to hear this part, though.
Okay, well, you can stay on for this part, and then I've already run the guys.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, so you can stay on for this part too, and then I also got in Scooter. He's back. We got in, of course,
you got
Big
room
Vic
for
and Jeff.
everybody?
Well, yeah, it looks like only 4 are gonna, but I can hide this now because I got this up here, so that way everyone can be seen. So this is, of course, dear to my heart, and I did try watching a couple of the NBA games because I wanted to get some NBA games, on here. But it seems like for the first round for the NBA, they do not show the anthems. I tried like the first game of each night, no anthems at all. So there were, though, they did show the anthems. I got to see for 5 of them. The first game was Winnipeg, and they were the home team, of course. The second game, the first game ran a little late, so they did not get to show the second one. But with that being said, the guy's name was Soul Bear. He did the first ones. He did, of course, the Canadian and the U.S. It seems like all the Canadian anthem singers now are doing this thing in Canada where they sing part of it in English and part of it in French, no matter where they are. I get it with Montreal, but they did it in Winnipeg, and just don't like it. So you got a 43 for the U.S. What was interesting, no real boos by Winnipeg when they did the U.S. anthem. A couple towards the ends, but nothing crazy. And then his Canadian was very good too. So he got a 42 out of that. The next one goes into our ones on Sunday. Adam Lee Decker in Carolina was the first up, which was kind of surprising to me because I hadn't seen, and Vic helped me out here on this one, I hadn't seen Adam Lee Decker really do the anthem there all year long. And I know he didn't do it for the playoffs last year, but it seems like poof, he was back. And so, right? Am I crazy on that, or was he just kind of out of nowhere back?
I think he's been around some, actually, like a couple of games, but
yeah,
I don't know where he's been. I know they have a couple of women singers also that come in every once in a while.
And he did okay. I mean, he's always been an okay guy for me. He gets a little pitchy, but I thought his pitch was actually a little better. But he kind of messed up. He caught himself because he said who's, and he almost messed the word, but he didn't. He caught himself. But for that, he still loses some style points. So it's a 41. Natalie Morse, there's just one on Toronto because it's Ottawa playing Toronto. Okanda, she did okay. It wasn't my favorite. Just wasn't very exciting. Just kind of blah. I thought for that one there, it was okay. But then I got to be honest. I think I have a new favorite, guys, and it's Carnell Johnson in Vegas. They call him the Golden Pipes, and he's always been in my top 5. but I think he might be my new number one because he first game out and he just nailed it. It was a thing of beauty last night listening to it. Just an amazing. He's just got these big, huge pipes and just on point. It's just amazing. So I gave him the 50. He got the perfect score. He got the full 50. So he's our first 50, other than Whitney Houston in the Super Bowl. So they are now share a 50 together.
Whoa.
As the best anthems I've ever seen. It was amazing. And it's his first game out. I mean, he's probably only going to get better, which is I don't have any way of awarding extra credit. But there we go. Any thoughts, guys, on the anthems from the first few games?
I think Decker should be lower, but that's just me.
Well, he is he only got a 41. So I mean, once I put everyone in place,
Yeah.
he'll be about. He's the only one that he was higher than was Natalie Morse. So of everyone that won, he was the second lowest of the 5 from this year. Now, in a matter of about 45 minutes, one of my favorites is also if they're still doing it together, the guys in Washington, they're top notch for me too. So I'm hoping that they're together tonight. I can't. What's their names, guys? I know Jeff and Scott, you'll help me out here.
Caleb Green and
I cannot think of the other guy's name. I should know him, but
so like Bob Johnson or something.
I think it's something Johnson, isn't it? I think you're right.
I think it is.
All right. Well, that's what we're going to go with. So that's it.
No.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Okay. You do that for me, and then we got to change this here. There we go. That looks better now for that. So we're done with that. Jack, what you got before we get into the hockey stuff?
Yeah,
Break it all
I
down.
just want to give you the one spot on your question about NBA.
Yes.
NBA, I won't be surprised if you don't see national anthem till finals.
Really?
Don't know why.
Okay.
Don't know why. But I
Okay.
can't recall seeing national anthem before an NBA game in the playoffs. Like I say, usually I'm getting ready for the game, but yeah, I'll check it out. And
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah, let me know because I definitely want to include them. So as soon as I hear one, they'll get included in the list because I watched for the couple of the first games at least to watch to see if there's going to be an anthem to add them on here, but no such luck on that yet. So
right.
All right, well there it is, guys. There's the "Oh Say Can You Sing" part. Now it's time to drive to the net. Jack, are you bowing out here?
I'm gonna welcome Vic, Jeff, and Scooter to the family. I know some of you guys been in the family for a while, but it's the first time I've been on the show with you guys. So thank you for all you're doing. And I'll catch you guys in the comments later.
Take it easy, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Bye, guys.
There we go.
Bob
All
McDonald
right.
is the other singer.
Bob McDonald, that's it. We knew it was something like similar and easy, but so much for there. So, well, guys, welcome in. I appreciate your patience. I know we're starting this part here late, so we'll try to get through some of this stuff timely, but yet at the same time quickly, so you guys, because I know there's a 7:00 puck drop that you guys are interested in. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll do our best to get this all done here before that 7:00 puck drop. But I do want to start with some ratings talk because I've been focused on this since the Four Nations, and we're only seeing more and more good news for hockey. The Frozen Four, the ratings for the final Frozen Four, they were 30% higher than the prior year. So I thought that was very cool to see. And then also the semifinals were 7% higher on a Thursday night with a lot of TV stuff going up. Overall attendance in the NHL was up for the third straight year. They set another record with 96% capacity. The AHL set a record this year. As they say on Shoresy, it's all about butts in seats, and they're getting the butts in seats too. Guys, any thoughts on the TV? It'll be interesting to see this first weekend without the Bostons, without the Rangers, and without the Philadelphia Flyers and without the Pittsburgh Penguins, what the first weekend ratings look like. But I think this is also very good news to see.
Yeah, definitely. I remember in 1994 seeing a Sports Illustrated cover story saying, basically claiming the NHL was overtaking the NBA in popularity, and so that was the last time that I think hockey got this much coverage in that way. So I think it's awesome. But yeah, I think the ratings ultimately might be down a little bit unless Ovi and the Caps make a run. I mean, that's the storyline to a casual fan, to somebody that doesn't know much about hockey. But yeah, not having the big market teams is going to hurt quite a bit.
Agree.
I know you guys probably aren't the biggest Pat McAfee guy, but I like him because I'm a big wrestling fan. I think he gets people into hockey too. He does a hockey talk on his show every once in a while, so he's got a huge following.
Agree. I think that's helped. Yeah, I've never really watched him because during the daytime it's just hard. But I do agree. I think that's something there that we could, that maybe he can help that out with for sure. So, all good stuff. Scott, anything on it before we move on to some firings?
Until some firings. First, I just want to say I'm broadcasting live from Delaware Park in Newark, Delaware. So I'm at where if the Midnight Rider was here, he would be in heaven. Let's just say that.
Gotcha. Yeah, see the TVs behind you.
yeah. I'm in the sports book, so why not? This is where I'm going to watch the game tonight. But
do you have money on the game?
No, I'm not a huge gambler, strangely enough, but I love casinos.
Yeah, me too.
It's like adult Disney World.
Yep.
I just love the people, and it's great. And I come out here, I give out free sandwich cards to people for my business to I see veterans wearing hats and stuff like that. So it's good
awesome
stuff. Yeah, I enjoy talking to the people. But let's go into the coaches fired. That's so much better.
All right, well let's get started. It did start technically a couple weeks ago with Torts getting fired in Philly. I don't really think that was really a surprise to anyone either. Just 2-year rebuild, then they seem to have actually gotten worse. Then on Saturday, which I was a little bit surprised. I thought maybe with Easter Sunday that they wouldn't all start until today. Anaheim fires Greg Cronin after 2 years. 62, 87, 15 in the first couple in the 2 years combined. Again, Anaheim's another team that just has struggled. Another one that didn't really surprise anyone, Peter Laviolette gets fired from his 6th team after a couple seasons there. He made the Eastern Conference Finals first year, and then the wagon just fell off this year quicker than what normally happens for a Peter Laviolette team. 39, 36, and 7 this year. Lots of locker room issues. And then breaking news just before we went live today, Dan Bilsma is getting fired after 1 year in Seattle. A little bit of improvement at 35, 41, and 6. I thought he'd get a couple more years, but I think I got an idea of why that firing is happening, but I'll save that for last. So who wants to go first on any of the firings that stuck out to you guys?
I thought Tortorella was a little bit shocking. I thought he should have got a little bit more of a chance in Philadelphia, but it is Torts, his attitude and everything. But
yeah, I agree. I think Torts needs a veteran team, and Philly is not that. I think Torts is going to land somewhere. Someone's going to hire him again. Maybe Nashville if Nashville decides to move on. Maybe Vancouver if Rick Tocchet decides that he wants to head back east. I think Torts will end up getting another job if he wants to coach again. He may also just decide he's done too. But I agree. I thought that maybe they'd give him another year, but I'm just not sure that he can connect with the young guys anymore.
And I think without the locker room issues in New York, Laviolette probably would have had another year. But locker room issues kind of forced them to have them out,
Yep. We both have a Laviolette experience. The only ones that he won a cup with was, of course, with Carolina, his years in Washington. I mean, and this is what Laviolette teams do, right? They get the first year with him are really, really good. And then I don't know what it is. It's like the locker room immediately turns them out. Usually it takes more than year 2. It's usually 2 good years, and then the fade starts. This just happened right away in New York. What are your guys' thoughts on Lavi?
So I'm going to go real quick with the Rangers. Okay, so Peter Laviolette gets the axe. The general manager is Chris Drury, a Boston University guy. So one of the possible great coaches they can pick up right now is a young Jay Pandolfo, who is an old Devils, but he was Chris Drury's roommate, and he was a teammate at BU. So there's that going on.
Yep.
I also think Joel Quenneville might be in the running for that position too.
I heard Quenneville as well, and I'm of the opinion that Tortorella, Laviolette should not get another head coaching job. Like, their days are done. The game has passed them by. I don't think you motivate teams the way they used to motivate teams. The Mike Babcocks are done, and I think Joe Quenneville's done. Obviously, he had a lot of success, but he's also an old school guy, and he's got that stain of just that disgusting mess that happened in Chicago. And, I wouldn't want him coaching my team.
Hey, I wouldn't want him coaching my team either, but I'm not putting it out of the Rangers.
Yeah.
Paul with a good comment here about Lavi. They recede like his hairline year 2. Yeah, that's the truth. Here's my thought on Lavi, and I think this is why Belsma gets fired. Ron Francis and Lavi have a history together in Carolina. Ron Francis wanted Lavi a few years back, but the timing wasn't quite right. I would not be surprised if Seattle names Lavi as their next head coach. I don't think that they should, but I would not be surprised by that.
Wouldn't either.
Go ahead,
I
Scott.
got a comment to that too, because of Francis. First of all, there have been the two longest tenured Hartford Whaler captains. Pat Verbeek, the general manager of Anaheim, he just fired someone, and Ron Francis, at Seattle, he just fired someone. So those two guys had a busy 2 days. I think that Ron Francis. Here's an interesting thing. I know he fired Kirk Moeller back in the day. And then he actually kept, you should know this, being Carolina fans.
Yep.
He kept on Rod Brindamore because he didn't think that Brindamore got enough. He wasn't getting enough exposure as an assistant coach, so he didn't fire him. And then a few years later, he actually becomes the head coach after Francis gets fired. But somehow I think there might be a Kirk Moeller showing in Seattle. I'm not saying he gets there, but I think that he talks to Ron Francis.
Yeah, I could see that happening too. Ron likes to bring in guys that he's familiar with, so it would not surprise me. I'm just a little surprised that I think he's got to have a plan in place to fire Bylsma, who's
Mulder kind of has some terrible teams here also, so he didn't really get that much of a fair shot here.
No, he did.
And Muller's kind of got this. He's been a really good assistant coach, and this year, like Jeff totally knows this. The past 2 years, I mean, last year was okay, but this year the power play, he runs the power play with the Washington Capitals. He runs their offense. And, I mean, they've been lights out. So he put his name right back up there as a guy who is a possible candidate.
Agree.
Former number 2 overall draft pick.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Anybody remember who was drafted ahead of him?
What year?
1984.
Mario?
I wasn't born yet.
Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, I thought it was Mario. Yeah, I wasn't born yet. Thanks, Vic. Thanks for rubbing that into our face. Appreciate that.
And it only took Scott a couple minutes for the Hartford Whaler history.
Yeah. Well, a little bit longer than this time than last time. So hey, we'll get it's wearing off a
one
little
more
bit.
Hartford Whaler thing that has to do with firings too, by the way. Here.
Okay, go ahead with that since we're on the firing
so
subject.
Philly, as you spoke about. Okay, so they fired Tortorella, as they should, and no one should hire Tortorella ever again. But they hired Brad Shaw. And Brad Shaw is one of 6 former Hartford Whalers 1986-87 Adams Division winning championship team that actually became a head coach in the league. And those guys are Ron Francis, Kevin Dineen, John Anderson, Dean Evison, Dave Tippett, and of course Joel Quenville.
It's quite a tree.
Yeah,
it's quite a
tree.
tree.
Yeah, it'll be interesting about Quenville. Has he been cleared to coach again yet, or no? I don't think he has.
I think he has.
Did he?
I think he has too. Yeah.
Yeah.
The star of the show keeps showing up with Matt over there.
I know. That's Peeve. Peeve is really fired up about the firing, so he's showing his head of approval. So, all right. Anything else on the firings, guys, before we move on?
Good.
All right, so we'll get into it. The way I'm going to go, we'll go through this series by series, guys. I will comment. We can comment on the game ones that happened for the 5 that have already happened as we get through each series. But why did these first games matter? The teams that win the first game wins the series only 56% of the time. They're 162 and 126. But you win games 1 and you win game 2, you go up to 86% of the time. So you get these first 2 games, you're setting yourself up pretty good, for what's going to happen here. So we're going to start out west because I know we love the East. So I figured we saved a couple of the matchups East last. So we'll start with this one: Winnipeg and St. Louis. This was the first game. Winnipeg wins game 1, coming back from behind against St. Louis, who got off to a quick start. Hallebuck was a little shaky at first. He finally rights the shift a little bit. Had a couple big saves towards the end. St. Louis just picked up right where they left off from their hot run at the end to win game 1. But what do you guys think? Or to try to win game 1, but then of course Winnipeg comes back with a couple goals in the third period to win it. What are you guys' thoughts on this series?
I got the Jets in 6 games. I think Bennington steals a game or 2, but I think the Jets are just too good, and they'll end the Blues run.
Yeah, I think the Jets are a lot better than people give them credit for. They are super deep, and they're high-end guys who get no notoriety because they play in Winnipeg, but Scheifele and
Kyle Connor
are –
and Ehlers also.
And Ehlers, yeah, they're all just really good hockey players, and their whole lineup is really good hockey players. The Blues are hot, so they'll win a game or 2. I'd go Jets in 6 as well on that.
Yeah, I think the Jets are an amazing team. I got them 4-1.
4-1. Yeah, that's Paul agrees with you. He's got the gentleman sweep there. I agree. I think the only way that this series gets questionable is if Connor Hellebuck, has his and you look, the first period, the first couple goals he gave up were kind of a little shaky, but then he makes the big save on the breakaway, and that seemed to calm them down. And then after that, he looked a lot better. And I think honestly, Winnipeg will go as far as Connor Hellebuck takes them, because that's the key for this team. That's why there are 4 teams I think that had to win game 1. Winnipeg was one of them, just because of the to get rid of those ghosts from the past year. They had to win game 1. If they didn't, it would have. The media in Canada would have immediately started on them if they would have lost that game. So that was a big win for them, for sure. The other game, which happened to be Saturday night, was Dallas and Colorado. Colorado wins game 1. On paper, this should be the series of the playoffs. Unfortunately, all of Dallas's really good players are injured. I just don't know that they have the firepower without some of the guys that they're missing. Jason Robertson goes down the first before just the last game before the season. They're still without Miro Heiskanen on defense. They're without a couple other guys. I just don't know that they're going to have the firepower to stay with this Colorado team, which is actually fully healthy. And oh, by the way, you've got Landeskog, who could probably come in at some point in time in this series. I just
next game, I think.
Yeah, I just don't see how Dallas is going to be able to stay with them. Does anyone give Dallas a chance to win this series?
Not unless Rantanen steps up, which I don't see that happening. So.
I give Dallas a chance. I think they're going to win it in 7 games. Dallas, they're a bounce back team. They always come back. And what's it? Heiskanen, he's coming back too, I think. And then it's just the way that they consistently win games when they're kind of losing, they come back and win. So.
Yeah, you talked about that stat. Dallas is 0-8 in their first game in the playoff. In the last 8 years, they've not won the first game, but yet they've won 6 of those series, which is crazy.
Right, exactly.
So, them losing game 1, I'm not worried about them. Colorado, though, they just got so much firepower, and Paul has his pick of Avs in 6. Jeff, what do you think? Anything that you going? I think you're going Colorado, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely going Colorado. I think in 6 as well. In Dallas, man, what a heartbreak it's got to be.
I just want to say I'm glad Chip ain't watching after that last thing. So.
Yeah, he wouldn't be happy that we all picked against his Blues, but I think probably seriously, Chip knows that this is a tough series for the Blues. I'm sure he'll be happy if they win a couple games. Look, they got in the playoffs, and they should. It's the run they got just to get there is pretty amazing. So. All right, with that, we got Las Vegas and Minnesota. This one kicked off last night. No real surprise here. I mean, Minnesota kept it close for a little bit. It was 1-1 for a little bit, and then the Golden Knights kind of kicked it into the third period. This team is, the Golden Knights are just another one of those teams. Every year you think, okay, this is the year they're going to start faltering off, and then nope, they just keep on a trucking. Minnesota is the one team that I think there's 8 or 10 teams that you can make an argument for winning the cup. Minnesota is not one of those teams in my view. I got Vegas winning this. Does anyone bold enough here to take Minnesota for this one?
I won't take Minnesota, but I think it goes 7. I think Minnesota's a really good team, and they push them to 7.
Okay.
I got it going 6, so close.
And I'm going to go one less. I got them going 5.
Man, did you and Paul get together on this beforehand, Peter? Because you guys have been 2 out of 3 at least. You guys have had not only the right amount of the same team, but the same amount of games too. That's pretty funny. I've got Colorado in 6 on this one. I do think, I meant Vegas in 6. I think Minnesota can win a couple of games. I like Kirill Kaprizov, and they're kind of getting healthy too. But Vegas they're just always there. I mean, Vegas is just going to Vegas. So that'll be fun to watch. Now, this I think will be the series out of the West. They meet for the 4th time in a row. Edmonton has won the last 3. Guys, is this the year that the LA Kings finally take out the Edmonton Oilers in the first round? They're healthy. Is this the one?
I think so. I got them in 7.
Edmonton and 7. The Kings are really good, way better than most people think. I mean, they're an exceptional team, but Edmonton's on a mission. I mean, it's going to take a really good team to knock them out. Even with all the holes they have, the stars that they have and the high-end players that they have, they have the best player in hockey by 1,000,000 miles and the best goal scorer in hockey by 1,000,000 miles. So it's going to be hard to knock them out. Kings can't do it.
The Kings are a really good team. They're going to lose in 7 games. It might be overtime 7th game, but both teams are really good. But Oilers, just like Jen said.
You know, we always talk about those traits that work out well for everyone. We all know how well Pierre-Luc Dubois has worked out for your Caps. Darcy Kemper would maybe be getting Vezina Trophy talk if it wasn't for the Connor Hellebuck and the Jets. He's been incredible there.
It's been a great
He's I mean, he really has been amazing. But when you got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl going against you, and Edmonton was my preseason Cup pick, but you know, Edmonton is again, like, they're here again. It's like they should just, it feels like they should be better than what they always are. Skinner is kind of falling off. Their D kind of still sucks. I don't know if they're going to have enough to win it all, but I think that they have enough to win this series. So I agree. I think this is the one that's definitely going 7. So I've got Edmonton in 7. Paul says, I think I picked Edmonton the bracket. They will likely go 7. So it's kind of, we all kind of feel like this was one that could go a while. This might be the one that goes to 7 games, but we all are kind of, it seems like a little bit of who will win it, which I like, but we all agree it's 7. So there we go. All right, let's get out east. The Battle of Ontario. We'll start with this one. This one was last night, you know, Ottawa. They always try to play physical. I felt last night's game, they played stupid, and Toronto took advantage of it. And if Ottawa plays stupid like they did last night, this is going to be a really short series, which is a shame because I kind of want to see Ottawa do well. But these guys have met 3 times in the playoffs. The last time was back in 2004. Toronto's won every series. Ottawa won the regular season games, and they showed last night that doesn't matter with their 6-2 drubbing. Does anyone think Ottawa can win this series, guys?
I don't think they're quite ready yet.
I'm not sure if they win a game.
I'm with Jeff. They lose 4 games to none. They and then we should expect to see Forsberg in over Lars Ulmark because, you know, they're just going to, it's going to be goals after goals.
Yeah, Allmark was not good yesterday. He did not help them out at all, which is, you know, and in a meaningless game in Carolina in the regular season, which Carolina played like 17 guys from their AHL team. He gave up 5 goals to Carolina. So I was like, yeah, this is not a good sign if you're Ottawa. So, and Paul agrees with us. He's got the Leafs in 6. So I think we all kind of have the Leafs winning this series in a short amount of time. So next one here, this is the Battle of Florida, and this is kind of an interesting one. I wasn't sure how Tampa Bay was going to do this year, but here they are. Jake Gensel is filled right in. Andre Vasilevsky is back to the Andre Vasilevsky of a few years ago before his injury. You know, it seems to me like a lot of people are counting out the defending champs. I know that they struggled down the gate, but you're getting Kachuk back. They're going to have Ekblom back after game 2. But this is another series where it seems like it's about 50-50 split on who people are taking. So who do you guys got?
Tampa
in 7.
I hate to say it, Florida's my second favorite team out there. Thanks to my brother and the Litterbox Cats. He started up back in the day with.
I think this could be the. Oh, sorry, Scooter.
No,
I think this could be the best series of the first round, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the best series in the first round. I think there's gonna be 4 overtime games, maybe, and then, you know, game 7 will be overtime. And I hate to say it, I think the Bolts will win.
See, Vic, that's karma because you were talking about Peeve getting in the picture, and then your dog starts barking in the background. So that was karma.
They're still going. I got it on mute.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear him still going. Yeah. I think this is definitely going 7. I do think it's the best series in the East for sure, but I think Florida's going to win it. I can't count on a Paul Maurice team that he's always had these guys playing well. And we know Paul's going to probably go with the Cats. He's got the Cats in 7. Eki back game 3. He says gonna get way under Kucherov's skin with Marchand and Bennett. Yeah. I think for sure you're going to see Florida do. I think the series could get fun too very quickly. I think you're going to see it get physical, very, which I love. I love a good fun series like that. So
Matt, you mean Paul Maurice, the last Hartford Whaler coach and the first Carolina Hurricane
first ever Carolina Hurricane coach. Yep, that took him to the finals. And I'm so happy for Maurice because he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a really great guy.
I'm glad he won.
Good coach, great coach.
If you want a coach to give you a good funny line after a playoff game, we know that's going to be Mo. Like that's the bet on is at some point in time Mo's going to have a great one-liner after a game, which or during the game too, because his in the game pressers are just as much fun. So so let's get to our teams. We'll start with this one
Paul,
because
I think what just Paul said. I'm sorry, real quick. What Paul just said. Like, I think he's right about getting under the skin of Kucherov.
Yep.
About there. I mean, he's 100% right on that, and I mean that's going to be a factor.
Agree 100%. I don't disagree with that at all, and I think that's how they win this. That's why I think they win the series, honestly, because they're going to be able to do that.
I think he knows how to handle that. I mean, obviously he's a hothead a little bit, and he can handle himself, but he's been through this. I mean, every team tries to get under his skin, and Florida does it better than others for sure. I think these are the two best teams in the East.
Crazy.
Yeah,
right.
But I think something that's not mentioned is it's hard to make deep playoff runs year after year after year, and after a couple of times doing that, your legs just aren't there the same way.
Yeah.
And Florida is, they're not an exceptionally old team, but they're going to be more tired than they think.
Like games
Agree.
played,
I
they are.
could factor in. Yep. All right, and probably I think that the series that has the least amount of buzz going into the first round, which I can't disagree with. Carolina came limping in. New Jersey's got injuries all over the place. I was very happy, to be honest with you, to see the Carolina team, because there's two Carolina teams. There's the Carolina team that finished the season the last 10 games that looked like dog crap, and there's the Carolina team that came out after the trade deadline and won 8 in a row, where they just were taking, just no nonsense. That team showed up last night. I don't know that they can show up consistently. I think they'll show up consistently enough to win this series, but it also would not surprise me because the one position that I don't trust yet for Carolina is in goal. And even last night, while the game was still 3-1, Freddie gives up just an awful goal to make it 3-1 and give New Jersey life, which then he did make a couple saves after that. But anyone going New Jersey here? Is everyone taking Carolina to at least win this one?
Not only them, taking them to sweep.
Yeah, sweep.
I got them in 6 like Paul. They're not as good on the road as they are at home, so I got them losing a couple on the road.
Agree.
And
that's the scary part. That's the scary part with Carolina, is that if you take them in 6, that means you're taking them to win a game. They have to technically win game 6 in New Jersey, which I don't know that they can close out a team on the road. I think that's why I think either 5 or 7, just because of how terrible they've been on the road this year. But I think Carolina will at least win this series, but I'm not. It would also not terribly surprised me in New Jersey if because look, that game last night could have easily been 8-9-1 if it wasn't for Markstrom. And if Markstrom plays like that this entire series, I could see him stealing 2-3 games. And if he does that and gives New Jersey confidence, that series could get interesting quickly. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's the Catlin reverse jinx. That's not happening.
No, that one I'm actually serious on. I do not trust Freddie Anderson or Peter Kochetkov right now. I don't trust them to make the big save. I just don't. But I hope I'm wrong.
The Canes are going to harass them so much that they're going to just give up so many goals. It's going to be sick. Trust me, the Canes are I hate the Canes. They're my least favorite team.
Me too.
I know you.
And they're going to kill them.
Yeah,
I know how you guys feel about my Carolina Hurricanes. It's what makes this fun. So, all right, so let's get to your guys' series. Washington and Montreal. This is an interesting one. Washington basically is on cruise control the last few weeks. Montreal, I think, is a very young team. I think they're kind of similar to teams that we talked about before, where with the Ottawas and the Minnesotas, they're young. They're just happy to be there. I think Washington is another team. Carolina and Winnipeg were teams that had to win game 1. I think Washington needs to win game 1. Just the same thing. You want to turn around that psyche of the end of the regular season and show that this team is legit, because there's a lot of people, for whatever reason, that don't like Washington to get into the Eastern Conference Final, let alone maybe, there's been a lot of picks for Montreal winning this series. I don't see it unless Monteball is completely better than the Washington goalies. I just think Washington's got too much.
Yeah, if Washington gets goaltending, they win this series. It's just as simple as that. The only way it's close and they have a chance to lose is if they get the goaltending that they've got in the last 12 games. I'm not sure which goalie will show up. Meaning, the good Logan Thompson. I think he's going to start tonight, or the guy that was floundering before he got pulled in the Hurricanes game. But if he shows up, if we get December Logan Thompson, this is Caps in 5. I agree with Paul.
Yeah. So Logan is playing, because I wasn't sure if they're going to go with Holmgren.
He was first off the ice.
Okay. Well,
after practice, so they haven't announced him. Yeah, but
that's usually the sign. That's always the sign. Yep. Scott, what do you want to add on it?
Yeah, so I think that the Canadians will probably bring a little gusto, to game. I think there's a chance they could actually win tonight, steal overtime game, and then I think by game 4 it's 2-2, and then it's the Caps over, it's 4-2. But I think that the Canadians are going to put a little big effort in there, and the Caps sort of have an issue with closing it out or getting in early, so they could have that, but then they'll close it out at the end.
Okay, so it sounds like Caps in 6.
Yes.
Is that what you're thinking? Yeah,
that's what I got.
Yeah, I got him in 6 as well. So just because I think Montreal can steal a game or two. He's really good, and he's been playing well down the stretch.
Yeah, he's a good goalie.
Man, Montreal's going to be scary for the next few years. They've just got that young core of talent that is just going to be. They're going to be fun to watch. I mean, I can't wait to watch them in a couple of years once they get this year, because I think they're kind of where Washington was last year. You had a lot of young kids getting their first playoff experience last year for Washington, and now they're going to learn from that.
Yeah,
and I think that's where Montreal is this year. They might get spanked this year, but look out for them and next year and then beyond that.
You're 100% exactly right, man.
Yeah. Best building in the NHL too.
Yep, agreed. Montreal is fun to watch. That place is going to be rocking. Right. Yeah, that place will be rocking though. The playoffs are better with Montreal and the Toronto's in it. That's for sure. As much as I hate to say it, but now we just have to hope for a Toronto early exit because that's always fun. So, all right. So let's get here. Let's just go with give me your Eastern Conference winner, your Western Conference winner, and then who you got winning it and how many games.
I got Tampa and Vegas, and Tampa in 7.
Wow. I mean, geez, we could almost say anything and it would be a good prediction. Yep. But I have Tampa and Edmonton in the finals. I just think they're the two highest skilled teams in the league, which doesn't always win in the playoffs. I think it will this year. And I have Edmonton winning in 7 games, and Connor McDavid finally winning Stanley Cup. The guy's too great. He's got to win a cup, and he almost put the team on his back the last 4 games in the finals last year, and throughout the playoffs. People forget he was a Conn Smythe winner with 42 points. I expect all of that and more from him. I think he was coasting during the regular season this year, and he's going to take it to a completely different level in the playoffs.
Scott, what you got?
Okay. It's the W's. Washington beats Winnipeg in 6 games.
Whoa.
And Dylan Strome's MVP. He's Conn Smythe Trophy winner.
I like that one better.
I'm not even going to be a homer. That's just how it worked out.
Yeah. Talk about a homer pick. I like it. See, Paul adds. Well, he has the W's as well, but he's got the other way. He's got Winnipeg over Washington. Not sure how I got there, but that's what he's got. I did 2 because my preseason picks, which I went back and I thought, I had my preseason pick was Edmonton over New Jersey. So since those 2 teams are still around, I was like, okay, well, I'll submit a bracket with that because they're still here. So I've got I'm going to play that one out because I thought Edmonton would be the team that ends the curse. But then my real one, I actually have Colorado taking down Florida, and I have it in 6 games. I think Colorado is the scary team, and they're getting the goaltending out from Mackenzie Blackwood. As long as they get the goaltending, that's my only issue for them because Lord, they got enough people to put the pucks in the net. They got the best defenseman, arguably out there in McCarr. So I will take them to win the Stanley Cup, which will make my dad happy. So we'll go with the Colorado Avalanche.
The one thing I noticed about all the, and if you include Paulie in there, Paul and I were kind of similar in ours, but I mean, everything else is totally different.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I think it gets back to what I was saying earlier. You got 8 or 10 teams. You can make an argument for winning the Stanley Cup for sure. And I don't think you can make that argument pretty easily and not be wrong. So it's going to
make for a great Stanley Cup playoffs.
It is. I agree 100%. So, I know we're about 14 minutes before that puck drop, and I want to give you guys time to get refreshed and everything. So, anything else you guys want to add on the hockey stuff before we head out of here?
I got the Canes in 7 next series. Now y'all probably both got Washington, but I'm just saying.
I do. I have Washington in 7. That'll be a crazy series if they play.
We'll say that
when they play.
we can do this again for when we get to round 2, and this time we won't have an NFL mock draft to go up against, so we can spend a little bit more time on it for sure. So yeah, if it does happen with the Washington Carolina, we'll have to all agree that we'll be nice to each other about it, because I know you two have the hatred for Carolina, which is funny because I don't have the hatred for Washington, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they meet because
mine's personal.
well, I know that. I get that. So I hope that they meet only because I think that there's a chance for a Carolina-Washington rivalry.
Yeah, that would be
And
awesome.
you know, the NHL kind of needs another rivalry series that, you know, because yeah, Toronto, Ottawa is good, but they don't meet that often. They need one of these series, I think, that could get a little ugly every now and then, because it's missing right now. And I think it has potential. There's, you know, that storm cloud's brewing. Whether or not we get it to fly overhead is going to be the interesting part here. So let's see here. Paul adds, but wait, Paul Maurice enters the ring with a foreign object off the top turnbuckle. It's the Florida Panthers. They repeat as Cup champions.
Yeah, nice.
Very nice add in there,
What
Paul.
is Brutus the Barber Beefcake supposed to do?
Right, exactly. So
yeah, so Matt wanted he suggested we go to a playoff game together. And I'm like, we won't survive that, Matt. And he goes, what do you mean? We're friends. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I want to remain friends. I don't think we should go to a game together.
Yeah, probably not. We'll have to keep it for regular season. Although,
come on, Jeff.
It will be tempting if they do meet, depending on how the series falls, because you know, Washington's technically a closer drive than Carolina at this point in time. But we'll have to see how it falls out, because Jared's been talking about trying to get back to Carolina for a game forever. So we'll see if for a playoff game. And then we're watching game 1, and the Lenovo Center was rocking like always. So I'm like, oh, man, I do miss that part. That's the part I definitely miss about seeing and getting in their lives. So, but man, there's so many good series. There's so many good cities when it gets to playoff hockey. It's just nothing beats being in an arena for the playoffs. That's for sure. All right, guys. Anything else you guys want to add?
Thanks, Matty.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me again, and we appreciate this. I appreciate your guys' time. Appreciate everyone that came in for the mock draft. Next week we'll break down we'll get more back into the NBA, update where they're at. We'll also get into where these NHL series are, and we'll get back into some baseball too, because we've been out of baseball here for a little bit. So, guys, appreciate your time. You guys all have a good night. And what did you do? I don't even know what that is. That bottle cap. There you go. Well, we know Scott's having a good time already. Watch out for him later. We'll be seeing the news stories, that's for sure. So, all right, guys. You guys have a good night. As I always say, take care of your loved ones. Make sure you tell them that you love them, that you hug them, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And if you are here, then hopefully we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Let's go, Caps.
Go Caps. CAPS.
Go Canes.